Then you get it all working, put it on the stand, and then you just watch the bloke like a hawk, honestly, because most people that play guitar looking at the neck of the guitar, so when they look round, you've got to be looking, because they go click. You've got to be ready, because if you're like, so I've been looking at you for 3 songs, and you're like, have you? You know? But then sometimes your mind wanders, you're like looking at them, and you're thinking, wonder if there'll be any sandwiches on the coach tonight. Wonder what I'll have. Could there be any crisps tonight? It was Christmas last night. And the bloke's going, and honestly, you're miles away. Like, you know, like when you're in class at school and you're like, and you see it like a dog, it's like, maths, maths. You just drift and you go. Then they come up and go, hello? And you're like, oh, yes, yes. Honestly, you have to really pay attention. I've been caught out loads of times. Just forgotten to give the bloke a guitar, has been standing there picking my nose or something. Then you get called in the dressing room. I don't feel that you're watching me when I'm playing. You get like told off a bit. You don't want to get a can of lager while you get told off, so it's not all bad. So really, I'm sorry about that. I just sorry about that. But you are great. Yeah, there's a lot of ego. You have to sort of stroke their egos and that make them feel. They can feel that you've got their back with it all the time. You know what I mean?
Okay. So then, after the show, it's pack it all up and do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah, it's the same thing in the same order, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. Things change. Sometimes you're standing in the fire exit and it's bloody freezing. And sometimes you're standing near the bar and you can just smell stale beer all day, you know. Sometimes you buy the bulk and it stinks, you know. But you just sort of put that out of your mind to just concentrate on getting it all done, you know.
So no time for wild partying, or what happened?
It's been rumoured that I have been known to be drunk on occasion.
After the show and after?
Yeah, never drink before a show. And when a bloke's paying you, I mean seriously, somebody's bill will pay you a couple of £1,000 a week. If you're standing there with a can of lager in your hand, you're gone. If you went into the bank, right, and when I asked the woman in the bank something, she went, hold on a minute, and opened a can of lager, you'd be horrified. You'd be like, hold on a minute, you've got all my money in there. You just can't really drink till you're done, like any other job. Even though it is there, it's people that drink don't last long. They usually end up doing something else for a living and don't end up getting flown all around the world.
Yeah, good point. Okay, I was just slightly digression. Just a little bit of. I know that you in your time you built guitars, and you also have a business of guitar refurbishment and repair. I wonder if you tell us a little bit about that. I expect there's some budding guitarists in our audience here.
Oh well, you know, but most of the guitars I repair are not the really expensive ones. They're just ones that people love, and I've had them for years. But I've had them in the bedroom and they've been under the bed and they've got things spilt on them and they're near the radiator and they've got all warm to the heat and stuff and they're a bit rusty and all that. And I just bring them in and I'll just like clean them up and oil them and fix the bits and put the bits on that fell off. Just get them working and get them so you can play them again, you know. And then people rediscover that they go, you know what, I've always loved this guitar, I don't know why I've been playing it. Because as soon as you break the string, you put it in the corner and think, I'll sort that out. And then sometimes it's years, isn't it? You know? And then they bring them to me. But I'm always quite pleased with the end result. You know, there's one bloke keeps bringing the same guitar back, but I think basically he can't play guitar. You think, by me fixing it more, it'll make him a better player, you know? So there's always one.
Okay, now that brings me on to my next point, which is sort of equipment. Have you got any favourite bits of equipment that, in terms of what guitar tuner do you use? Do you use a particular brand or particular guitars that you like or think are not so good? Or do you think that it's the person behind the guitar that makes the difference rather than the instrument?
Well, anything that's been well made and is reliable is definitely a plus, you know what I mean? But yeah, so it's down to the individual. It's like shoes, isn't it? Some people like boots, some like trainers, some like ballet pumps, some like flip-flops. You can't make people use what you like, but you get to know what stuff works and what becomes a prevalent problem with stuff. That's the experience you get. The more people you work with, the more you know. And in the end, you can tell them what's going to go wrong when you get them by. The problem with them, after about 20 gigs, then it all starts to get loose, and they're like, oh really? 20 gigs later, they go, you know what, you're right. And then they're really glad they got you on board, you know what I mean? So, but a lot of people I work for buy me presents at the end of the tour, buy me a watch or a wallet or something. I should eBay some of them, a couple of them are worth a few quid actually. We're given a few guitars. But for the Manic Street Preachers, give me 3 guitars. But for the Black Crows, give me 3 guitars. You know, or they give you stuff that I don't want anymore. They go, oh, the record company gave me this radio. Here, you can have it. And you get free shit as well, it's fine.
So you think on equipment, it's not always the most expensive equipment that's the most reliable?
No, sometimes it's the simplest stuff that works, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because there's less to go wrong.
I think that's a very valid point. Keeping it simple. In terms of your guitarist setups, you advise them on what effects to use and how to.
Well, like if asked, never give an opinion unless they ask you for it. Otherwise, you're just sticking your nose in, you know what I mean? You have to wait till they go, what do you think? And if you know they've spent $5 grand on this shit, and you go, yeah, it's great. I'm thinking, oh God, I wish it was, you know. Well, it depends, they're your boss, isn't they? And they need someone to help them with their confidence, and they need to know when they walk out on stage, it's all going to work, and that they can enjoy the gig, you know.
Absolutely. Now, on tour, it's a very organised, on the kind of tours you do, which are pretty large ones. It's a pretty organised setup, isn't it? So is there what's the kind of pecking order? Is it like the little army and is there a pecking order hierarchy?
It's like the army on holiday, right? Where everyone, like if you was in the army and you all went on holiday together, the general will still be the general, even though he's wearing shorts, wouldn't he? He's still like, he wouldn't go up and start flicking his ears or anything, would he? You know, so take the piss out of him, you know. It's like there's a tour manager and the band, and there's a production manager who's in charge of everything to do with the gig, every aspect, the schedule, how much you earn, how many lights you have, and how much they cost. And then it all works down, and it's the sound man, the monitor and the lighting man, then it's me usually. And there's loads more below me, but sometimes I'm a bit further down, which isn't good, but you know, work's work, isn't it?
It is, yes. So you don't mind that it's probably, but I suppose it has to be like that, otherwise it.
Oh yeah, there's got to be. If there's any structure to it, you know, if you can't do any more than you do, your day's pretty full. You can't suddenly start cooking all the meals, driving the truck. It's when there's not enough, then he wouldn't sleep. Then he'd start making mistakes. Then he'd find himself at home again.
So sometimes do you have to bite your lip? Like you say, the guitarist with the £5,000 worth of rubbish, yeah.
I'm on the 7th lip. That's how many bloody lips up here. I've been holding this tongue for 20 years.
Okay. All right. So I was going to say, we're going to take some questions at the end. But are there any tips that you'd say? A couple of tips for the aspiring person that wants to go out and be a tech, a stage tech. You said about
pay attention, right, and it's all in the details. So when you watch them, you notice, and you go, well, I like all their plectrums there. So just put them there every day. And they go, he's watching me, he's got my back. And then they ask you, or like a friend of mine, he's only worked for 3 people. He started off with Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix said to John Lennon, I've got a better roadie than you. John Lennon said, coming to work for me. And then John Lennon said to Paul McCartney, you want to see my new roadie? He's mustard, and he's worked for Paul McCartney ever since. He's only been a roadie for 3 people. He's a millionaire. He's flown everywhere in a private jet. So I'm a bit jealous of him, but can't have everything in life.